going to be a big body of water before you get to the Ritzy. And you know what? There's a team there. There's a team that's also looking back at the edge of the zone. I think they know that they have a very advantageous position here. And if they just follow their gut, if they follow their hunch, they'll be spot on, potentially to open themselves up to 2 free elims.
I mean, what I can't help but notice with Visuals is that AR ammo is looking incredibly low. Maybe Braids has more that he can split, but Visuals can't really be taking these long shot exchanges. Maybe initially a couple of rounds can be exchanged, but I just don't think 41 is the count that you're looking for when you're trying to approach on a dead side rotation, because if they are under in the slightest first surge here on the F, it could be problematic.
And look, it was Baka and Pars who had the feeling there might have been a team there, and it looks like they let their guard down for just a moment, and Visuals and Crew slip by and make their way to the landmass. So Baka and Pars lose out on an opportunity. And just talking about the ammo difference, right? Visuals and company, little did they know, they would not have been able to put up a long-range defensive stance. It's just not going to happen. They don't have the ammo for it, but that's the fun part about being behind the camera like we are, right? We get to see all of this little bits of insight and kind of know what's at stake. But on the other side, Bak and Pars is just playing off of instinct here. Meanwhile, we jump over to Miro, who's got the bit of high ground here alongside Cooper. Zone's going to pretty much pull towards them. This is a very favorable spot to be in, but not looking too hot either on the inventory count here. Half the material count's essentially already invested in this massive base here, and it's going to go to waste.
Definitely seeing quite a few teams that are more or less kind of in need of a refresh, whether it's for materials or just for ammo. Something's got to give at some point, and Bucky, he's already given everything as he will be on sacrifice so far here. Oak is doing what he can to try and see if he can pull this one through, but Bucky, he might just be trapped here. Don't think there's any opportunity for Okus to look for that revive. Axe first, Smoke possibly just taking their time, toying with that finish onto Bucky, and we were just complimenting this team for how far they were able to tarp out. Seems though as if they had to leave that initial location, that they'd established a little bit of a safety base in MDF, and now with Smoke, it's Axe first. They want this final elimination onto Okus, because again, you start one battle, it's not just going to be you and them. There's always the rest of the lobby to get involved, and that's something that we've seen Sharkman and Elsa already take advantage of once this game. You can imagine they're trying to see if they can run it back with a little bit of that third-party action, but Smoke and Axe first, 2 elims in tow. And the main thing that I'm noticing is the max mats.
They're pushing back though. They know. They're like, hey, Bucky, we got you. Where's Okus? And they find him just on this upper layer here, making it look easy. And you know what? I have to assume that it's because of the momentum swing from Sharkman and Elsa possibly opening up the pressure, right? The line of fire here, because Bucky and Okus, like you talked about, they were extremely comfortable. Something had to go terribly wrong, and I think it's that they opened up the box against Sharkman. They probably had too many tags. Smoke and Crew just come on in, and they finish the job, making it look nice and easy. That's what happens when you have teams that are feeling confident, that are moving, and they're closing fights quickly, right? But look at this, Booga even fighting back here in the water, shamelessly in the sniper meta. Talking about it, you see the shot come through. That's the risk you take as you start to poise up in the open like that. Look at how many teams are nearby. I'm more surprised that the entire lobby hasn't found a fresh angle here, but no, they're just slow enough. White tags are going to come through. Booga's going to make the call here. Let's push this fight. We're going to finish them off. And look at this, not even going head on. He takes this side angle, right? It's the little bits of positioning here. It's the couple of small things, the small differences that put him to be one of the best, one of the world-class players. He puts himself on the left side to have the right camera peek. It's just so textbook, making it look very easy. And not only that, opens the line of fire for Aviv right there, not getting in his own teammate's way. The little things, Aviv and Booga are showing signs of excellent gameplay right now, and also synergy as duo mates. I'm feeling very good about this team now. I think Vivid might have been right putting a spotlight on them.
When they're making plays like that, yeah, it makes total sense why Vivid has so much respect, along with, I think, just about everybody that's paid a little bit of attention towards Fortnite history. But Bugha and Aviv, they're not the only ones trying to create their own opportunities. Right now, it's Foyu and Goldberg seeing if they can push so heavily, but it's going to be a complete turn and burn here from Zypha. Does wind up losing short in the process. Don't think he'll be able to get that revive off in time, so it's looking like Zypha's going to have to resume the rest of this game as a solo clutch. But he's not the only solo that's moving right now. And the main priority is just making it into zone. Grapple Blade, gonna mitigate some of the damage pressure from that, but he's gotta wait for those recharges to come through now. The builds getting expended at a rapid rate here. Everybody recognizing the fact that this solo has just entered the safe zone. But how safe are you really as a solo up against the likes of two duos right next to you?
Well, we'll have to see it. Zypha's been cooking off camera, and in fact, we might as well run it back one more time for you guys. Let's take a look at how he picks up 2 quick eliminations here. Moving alongside his teammates, sure, this is a very experienced duo. This is a team that handles the pressure very well. Goldberg gets taken down. He lets the wall come down, pre-fires the shot, lands it, most importantly, and closes the deal. As we start approaching the end game, though, Cooper and Miro already in position. Baka and Pars likely in a very strong spot to win this game as well. I know we see them on the low ground, but last we checked in, they had a lot of material. And look at this. Miro and Cooper haven't expended much. They are using these grapple hooks wonderfully to move just right along zone to zone here and get position to position. And now, honestly, they can even refarm here. They can situate themselves even better. We jump in with Baka and Pars. Not a single elimination, Taco, but all the material in the world.
It seems as though Pars and Baka have done an excellent job of kind of just sticking towards this low ground, finding other teams' cleanups potentially. Looks like some kind of battle took place, at least where Baka and Pars are currently located, and now they're both just getting back to max shield. They want to make sure that they are full healthy when they go for their next method of attack here. But Bugha and Aviv, right now, their only focus is on just controlling the high ground. This is right around the time where you would kind of expect a team to really start applying some pressure onto everyone else in those lower layers. But Bugha, Aviv, they're gonna have to be careful of some of these other teams that might have those grapple blades in tow. It's not necessarily a guaranteed freebie trying to hold on to height.
Yeah, listen, I see everyone talking about Flowberry this, Flow Juice that. No, I'm talking about Flow State. Bugha and Aviv are locked in right now. They have the high ground. They have so much space between them and their opponents. They are just in a completely different stratosphere right now, looking extremely comfortable. Meanwhile, Chip and Sires are down in the shambles box here. Below the storm surge, slowly running out of material here. They have to do something big, or they're going to start falling down this totem pole pretty quickly here. So as they start moving to the front side of zone, let's see if they can take a fight.
But that's the thing. Even with Twixen on the other side of this wall, Chimp doesn't want to just rush in mindlessly. Kind of trying to do what he can to gauge the situation, gauge just how many duos, how many solos are actually in these low ground layers with him and Sires. And now Chimp finally finding some moments, trying to turn forward, but again, materials are so low. Cooper Miro actually gonna drop to the low ground temporarily. It seems as though they want to just restructure, reorganize from where they actually want to set up here in this like mid-ground layer, but Cooper just continuing to turn forward. Hav, Knock, they're the ones now trying to apply some pressure onto the other side of these walls. It's going to be Baka, in fact. I'm not sure if Pars went down as well, but Baka being eliminated by Hav and Nog, that is a massive takeout.
Yeah, I didn't think that would happen, especially considering they had so much to work with. Baka and Pars are two of some of the best, fighters that we have on the region right now. They're locked in here, but Zypha just holding on. That med kit's gonna go all the way through. That's a win condition now. Completely used up here. He's trying to put himself in a spot. Sometimes it's just easier, though, to play for yourself here. Let's see if Zypha can find at least a single impact elimination. Pressure's coming in. He's in a world of trouble, though. The enemy box is there. And I was curious why we're gonna be able to give it up their positioning here, but it seems like they just read the zone perfectly here. They just gave it up temporarily to get in front.
And it's gonna be Cooper first to fall here between himself and Auto Only. Auto Only being Miro, of course. But when you're left to try and deal with all this congestion that's been building the mid-ground layers, massive shot there from Hav. That's gonna be a medallion pickup as well for Hav and Nak. Just trying to do what they can to get those shields. But Pars actually still up and running. So it was exclusively Baka that got elimed earlier on. Almost jinxed Pars into oblivion. But instead, a little bit of revenge here as Scissor. It's going to be an elim that Pars will claim for his duo. But now, Auto Only not going to be able to cut the gap there with that grapple blade. Unfortunately, will fall to the storm damage. Hav and Nock, though, doing such a good job in this secondary height layer. Have to imagine that's still Bugha and Aviv up top trying to apply some pressure. And then again, all the way down to the low ground, you've got Pars clinging on for dear life here. MDF, it is not an easy position, but pretty solid solo clutch so far.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is what you expect from a team that's just this good. They're going to perform. Everyone's going to put up the numbers. This is what NA's best is all about.
Nock, though, the last representative here as Hav just recently being elim. Bugha still holding the high ground. He's got Aviv up to his own devices down below, trying to do what he can to take out all these other teams. A successful elimination, though, for Aviv as he gets knocked in the process, which is going to force Bugha down. But Bugha, he's just looking for the capitalized shots here, and he will find it. One of our rounds being won by Bugha and Aviv. Yeah, this is definitely a team that we're going to have to keep our eyes on.
What a wonderful finish to a close game. But for Bugha and Aviv, once they got themselves into a position to succeed, they did not look back. For a moment, though, they had us gassed. We were wondering, what is going on? Why would they give up a strong positioning like that? But instead, they said, hey, look, MDF, give me a second. Let me walk through some enemy builds for a moment here. And the moment it pulls back, they clutch out here. Take a look at those final moments one more time. Bugha jumps off, saves himself from taking damage, puts himself in the front. And just like that, it's over. Couple tags as well, just to ice the cake. And just like that, we get to toss it on over to the fam at the desk because Aviv and Bugha are our Game 1 winners.
Well, that's why we have to kind of put respect on their name. The first game of the day here in this lobby. My, oh my. And with such a swaggish factor there. Just a little swag on it, you know what I'm saying? Just zip on out, turn around. I know where you are. My teammates tell me everything. I have all your information downloaded. Lock it in, lock it out. That's so sick. And I gotta say, Vivid, this first game was a lot of fun. It just felt like there was constant action going.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that action was actually coming from Bugha and Aviv. We saw some very, very aggressive plays throughout the mid-game, right? Those refreshes that they were finding just before some of these zones started to pull very, very far, including this one right here. Pretty much putting that duo in a montage in Bugha fashion, allowed them to have the materials to go ahead and actually build up on the high ground. And from this point forward, they just had it for the rest of the game.
I mean, I want to speak more of that mid-game engagement around Zone 7, where Bugha and Aviv were in a perfect situation. However, they're getting beamed from across the lake. Bugha doesn't fret for a moment. He's just, you know, kind of recycling through his wood builds, not really freaking out too much until Aviv and Bugha see that white damage that they take onto the opponent. And then that's when they go in with the engage. They use the grappler blades. They go in and immediately grab the eliminations. And it's really that patience and understanding that Bugha just brings so much beyond other players.
Yeah, he's got a massive brain, and he does not mind letting the lobby know just how many steps ahead of everyone else he is. We wanted to highlight Cooper and Miro there as well. Just a couple key clutch moments. Remember, we're just trying to put on the best performance we can over these next 2 weeks, and for this duo specifically, especially again with that global championship title, we have high expectations. And after game 1, I feel like they're in a good starting spot.
Yeah, 100%. Still a lot to play for, and just got to give a big shout out to Cooper because he has taken on the role of an IGL so well. If you ever get an opportunity to tune into one of his streams, the way that he talks, he's always very, very descriptive in his comms, and it's just very, very easy for him to mesh with Miro. And then you just leave Miro in one of these situations where he's left as a solo. We saw this time and time again throughout pretty much every single FNCS we've ever seen Miro in. Throwback to when it was like him and Bugha, they were just trading, you know, solo clutches back to solo clutches. Just such a good duo.
That's right. Now we turn attention to the standings. So as a reminder, remember, we have a bunch of lobbies all going on at the same time. So if you're looking up there, you're like, wait a minute, we just watched one game. Why is there 4 victory royales? Remember, there's separate lobbies all happening at the same time. So Zooks and Usain Bolt's over there. They got themselves victory on Kyra and Marine, Crackling Zone as well. So Again, we're trying to just put on the best performance we can after the first 2 weeks. Then we're going to look at the series point leaderboard and say, hey, which are the best players? Now you're playing for the grand finals. So after game number 1, especially to see a couple names in there, I saw in seventh place, Clicks and Epic Whale, a duo I'm very excited to see. They've been taking it very seriously, but guess what? I'm getting word. We're going right into the action. We have more games, more action. So casters, over to you.
Thank you so very much, Zeke. That's right. There is so much action here. And the way the qualifiers are going to shape up is that we are going to continue to drop right into the rounds in the middle of the heats here as everything is playing out. Larson and Degen already positioning up. And mind you, keep in mind, this game is very much underway. Take a look at the zone here. It's half in, half out, right? We cut all the beginning of the fat, Taco. We're getting straight into the meat.
Yeah, and for Degen and Larson, it almost seems like they're playing bouncers, essentially, to some of these other teams that are trying to enter on the south edge of this zone. But Degen and Larson, expect that they've got to be good on their surge damage, considering that they're not opening up any of their walls. They're not looking to try and create any edits to look for any sort of peaks. Probably also not trying to risk eating a sniper shot in return. We all know how rapidly that can go downhill if you are tagged, and then a team will immediately just try to key at you if they see any sort of damage that's cracking those shields.
Yeah, 100%. Can they find a shield opener? Can he find an opportunity to get on in there? That's what professional players will do. They'll take advantage of an inch, turn it into a mile. For Mason and Pen, they're already on the move here. Grapple hooks being utilized. Reciprocal, though, playing with Crims. This is a new duo. Okay. Expect Reciprocal to mix it up. He was one of the few that actually stood true to his duo for several seasons, but now he's a little different right now. Ooh, big tag, though, there, Taco. Okay. He's going to be happy with that damage.
Yeah, it doesn't even bother seeing if he can immediately follow it up. It just seems as though the focus, again, is just maintaining a steady trickle-in of surge damage, so you don't have to worry about being under the damage threshold should it apply. But move into a slightly different section of Rebel's Roost here. We've got Jay Vaya and Baloney boxed up. Decent resources. No white heals, at least, on Jay Vaya, but hard to say whether or not Baloney might be holding onto the med kits, as we so often see duos choosing to split whatever resources they might have available to them. But it's going to be a positional move instead for Vaya and Maloney. Still keeping in mind that they're bound to have some pressure coming up behind them. I think that's why they're trying to get the move on now with these grapple blades. They know moving towards this hill might give them a good orientation of where the rest of this lobby is starting to collapse into the zone at. But Cash and Ilash, seems as though they found NPen. Might be looking to aggress, but it's hard to work from the bottom up.
I respect it. Look at the zone, though, Taka. This is really, really looking bad if you're on this this western side, which is everyone in the lobby at the moment. No one has decided to say, oh, yeah, let me get a little more comfortable. Let me use this grapple blade to get a little distance. Now, everyone's comfortable sitting on top of one another inside of this lobby. As we start to scope out, you can see running lists of players' names, a lot of names that I don't necessarily recognize. That's a good thing. This is their opportunities now. Tricks here trying to see what he can make happen. Meanwhile, he's got Dylan pushing up on his side, though. Big tags coming in. This is a duo pushing with confidence right now. Let's see what Tricks can do. Defensive tag comes in, doesn't quite hit it. The second one is good, and another team shoots in, loses teammate. Pickett is down now. For Sams and Dylan, they already have 2 Elans. They might be able to reap the rewards. A knocked body here. And, oh, it all makes sense. They were well below the surge. It's going to force their hand here. Oh, they left a body, getting greedy for the loot instead of going for the tags. That might be a fatal error here.
Right now for Sams, Dylan, expending a little bit of that Forberry Fizz just to see if they can buy themselves some time, but they need, what, 2-3 good tags, and they're in business. But Sam's just barely any ammo to work with on that Striker AR.
Pretty fine.
And it's not looking much better on the Frenzy Auto either. Still 210 below Sams and Dylan both know that they are essentially working against the surge clock here because that gap is only growing. They're going to have to create their own opportunity if they want to find themselves sticking this one out and not falling victims to the surge tag damage. Now it's going to be Sams and Dylan trying to see if they can find another section of the map, another section of the lobby to potentially try and find a little bit more of those tags in, but Dylan already knocked, likely due to the fact that just struggling there for the longest time. Reciprocal, though, on the other end of that, he's not struggling in the slightest. Love it. Every time that sniper connects.
Yeah, even with the sniper change, it does not matter. You give it to pro player, he's gonna make it work. The muscle memory kicks in. The shots start to connect. They make it look easy. Crims is down, so greeting for the loot there did backfire, and it seems like Reciprocal didn't grab much of it, like at least as far as the ammunition is concerned, because he's in a pretty tight signal just to go for